Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam
Narayanam Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva
Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devi
Devi
Saraswati
Sarvastam
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayam
Udiraye
Udirivat
Shrinvatam Swakataha Krishna
Sravatam
Srinvatam
Sarvata Krishna
Sravatam
Krishna
Krishna
Punyashravana Kirtana
Punyashravana
Kirtana
Kirtana
Vidyastastohiya Bhadrani
Hridayastohi Bhadrani
Bhadrani
Dani
Vati Suhritsatam
Vidinoti
Vidinoti
Suhృtsatam
Suhritsatam
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nashtapraye
Nashtaprayesha
Nashtaprayeshu
Bhadresha
Yam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata
Bhagavata
Sevaya
Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Uttamaśloke
Uttamaśloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike
Bhakti
Bhaktir Bhavati
Bhavati
Naistike
Naistike
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Dev Nandagopakumaraya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Devaki Namaha.
Govindaaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So we'll continue the fifth chapter, the cause of all causes, the discussion between Lord Brahma and his son and disciple Narada. So we have seen until 13th verse, the conversation between Narada Muni and his father Brahmaji. Narada expressed his doubt, mentioning, from my own direct pratyaksha experience, I have seen you do the entire process of creation. So in my understanding, you are the only creator. So he expressed it like that, and to which Brahma starts answering. In the last session, we saw, before answering, Lord Brahma prayed to the Lord. So now we'll see Lord Brahma answering questions one by one. So if you remember, the first question was, what are the constituents of material creation? And where does dravyam, that is the dravyam, and then where does the material, where does this material creation take shelter of? That is the second question. So those two, and then third one also will get answered in this section. We'll see. Let's see the verse, second verse. Do you see my screen? Windows Word?
Yes.
See the
We see
people.
the PowerPoint.
Okay. One second.
Yeah, now we can see the word.
Yeah, so the questions are in the second verse. We'll just quickly see the questions that Yadrupam yadadishtanam yatah srishtam idam prabho yat samstham yat pranam yatcha tattvam vada tattvataha. So he asked 5 questions. What are the constituents of material existence, material creation? Second was, where does this material creation take shelter? Where does this whole material existence take shelter? And how is it created? Is there, because I see that you are also meditating before creation. So is there something higher than you? We all know that Lord Brahma knows, but still he asks these questions for our good. And then finally, how does this material existence get conserved? And under whose supervision all of this is happening? So these are the 5 questions. Now Brahmaji is actually answering the questions from 14th verse. Let's read those. Dravyam karma cha kalascha
Dravyam
Kalasya
kalasya
bhavo jiva eva cha
bhavo jiva eva cha
vasudevat paro brahman
Vasudeva paro brahmam
nachanyo arthosti tatvata.
nachanyo stitatvataha.
Yeah, please read.
The five, go ahead.
Go ahead, Prabhuji, go ahead.
The 5 elementary ingredients of creation, the interaction thereof set up by eternal time, and the intuition or nature of the individual living beings are all differentiated parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. And in truth, there is no other value in them.
So he said there are 5 material ingredients in this creation. Dravyam, the five material elements. We know what are those? Earth,
Panchabhutas.
Panchabhutas, yeah. And then karma, the results of one's actions. Kala, the time factor. Time factor manipulates the matter, right? Every entity goes through the birth, growth, and maintenance, and then dwindle, right? So these phases, so time manipulates the matter to go through the states. And then swabhava. Swabhava is the nature or the inclinations of, and then jiva, right? So these are like 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita. What are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone remembers? Jiva, Kala, Karma, Paramatma. There is one more. Jiva, Kala, Karma, Paramatma. What is the 5th one? The material elements, right? Yeah, Dravyam. So these are the 5 topics of Gita. It's almost the same. Swabhava is not there. So the 5 elements, 5 material elements are, so he's just explaining what are the constituents of material existence. If I want to understand what does this material existence constitute, the 5 material elements, karmas are the whatever is one entitled to, right, to experience in this world. The time that manipulates or progresses the jiva's karma. Swabhava are the inclinations, right? And the jiva means the soul. So these are the 5 things that play as the constituents of the material existence. So how is karma and swabhava related? I'll just want to explain this aspect. So karma, so when one performs an action, there is a result that happens to that, right? Means what one deserves, right? For example, if one has, a disease like, say, sugar or diabetes. Suppose he eats a gulab jamun, what happens? His sugar level shoots up. That is the deserved action, the deserved result. That is the karma part. Besides the karma part, there is a second part, which is the inclination of the living entity. So the living entity may decide to not eat anymore gulab jamun, or may get attached to eating more. So with any action, there are these 2 reactions that constitute with that. One is what one deserves, that you get immediately. That is karma. And the swabhava is the inclination that you will carry forward. So that will influence future action, right? So for example, he develops a distaste for gulab jamun, he will not eat that anymore. But if he develops further attachment, then he will continue to eat, right? And then he will aggravate his disease. So with every action, the karma part is fixed. We cannot change it. The swabhava part is still in our hand. So that's where free will comes into play. So we can still make the right choices. So these are called vasanas. Swabhava or vasanas are the inclinations or proclivities. So these are the things that are in our hand, right? So this is how we can affect our karma, meaning how we change our future. We may be eating non-vegetarian, right, in the past. But after taking to Krishna consciousness, we change our swabhava, or our inclination or proclivity. So that way our future is going to change. What we are today is already fixed. And what we get based on all the activities we did till today is karma. Nobody can change it. It's called prarabdha karma. But the sanchit karma, the totality of karma that is deserved for you in the future, that can change based on how you act upon your free will, right? So this is part, that is why it's in other ways you can also say swabhava is also like a free will, right? Because free will is the source of swabhava, one's like proclivities. Because jiva has free will, swabhava is also a constituent of material existence. Yeah. So, yeah, the intuition is that part that is explained, or nature of individual living being, or all differentiate parts. Yeah. Parts and parcels of Vasudeva, and in truth, there is no other value in them. So he's saying all of this comes from Supreme Lord only. All these 5 things I mentioned, the ingredients, Kala, Karma, and Swabhava, and Jiva. So everything is actually part of the Supreme Lord. Vasudeva, the other day we were discussing what is the word, what does this word mean, right? Vasu means residence. Nivas, we say, right? So that's where residence. So the entity in which the Supreme Lord resides, whether it is a living entity or material. So Vasudeva is the personality that resides in everything, in the heart of the jivas, or even in atoms also Lord resides. That's why there is electrons continuously moving. Who is surcharging them? Is the energy of the Lord. So Vasudeva means where Lord resides, which is both living and non-living entities. So everything actually comes from the Supreme Lord. So that's what this word. So he first clarified where all the ingredients are coming. Ingredients of material existence. And the entire material existence can be summed up into these 5 things. Yeah, that's all we understand from this. Yeah. Please read. Continue, Prabhu. Yeah.
This phenomenal world is impersonally the representation of Vasudeva because the ingredients of its creation, their interaction, and the enjoyer of the resultant action, the living being, are all produced by the external and internal energies of Lord Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 4th verse.
This Bhumirapon verse. Everything comes from Lord, all the elements. Okay.
The living entity who enjoys the interaction of the above gross and subtle ingredients as set up by eternal time is an offshoot of internal potency with freedom to remain either in the material world or in the spiritual world.
The Tatastha Shakti or the Jiva potency, the living entities like all of us, we are offshoot of internal potency, Chit Shakti of the Supreme Lord, not Chit Shakti, Antaranga Shakti of the Supreme Lord. But we have a choice either to remain in the material world or go back to the spiritual world based on our choices, free will.
The living entity is known as the marginal potency of the Lord. But in all circumstances, neither the material ingredients nor the spiritual parts and parcels are independent of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. For all things, whether products of the external, internal, or marginal potencies of the Lord, are simply displays of the same effulgence of the Lord, just as light, heat, and smoke are displays of fire. None of them is separate from the fire. All of them combine together to be called fire.
Yeah, everything comes from, like, just like heat, light is inseparable from fire. So similarly, the jivas are inseparable from the Supreme Lord. Mama Ivamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, right? So the jivas are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, inseparable entity. When we are disconnected, we do not experience the bliss of the Supreme Lord, like we are all right now. But when we reconnect, yoga is reconnecting the self with the super soul. So when we reconnect back, and we are in the right constitutional position. And how do we reconnect? The reconnection is through service, right? When we reconnect ourselves in service to the Supreme Lord, then we are situated in our constitutional position. Narayana Paraveda
Narayana
Narayana
Paraveda
Paraveda
Deva Narayana Gaja
Deva
Narayana
Narayana Gaja
Gaja
Narayana Paraloko
Narayana
Narayana
Paraloka
Narayana Paramakha.
Narayana Paramaka.
So he is now clarifying, because Narada seemed to have expressed that you are the main creator. So he's clarifying, if you think, okay, maybe I gave these constituents, if you think maybe Vedas are the source of all this material existence, people claim it, everything came from material nature. That's how people like to think, because that's what they can see and nothing they can see beyond. If you think, everything came from Vedas, no, it is not, because Vedas are origin from Supreme Lord. Maybe you think that this material existence has come from Devas. Second line is Deva, Deva Narayana. But those Devas are nothing but the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, so in this way he explains how everything, Narayana Paraloka, he is beyond the Supreme, beyond all these material manifestation. And he is the, for him, all the sacrifices, even the sacrifices are not the source of material existence. The sacrifices are done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Yeah.
Translation. The Vedic literatures are made by and are meant for the Supreme Lord. The demigods are also meant for serving the Lord as parts of his body. The different planets are also meant for the sake of the Lord, and different sacrifices are performed just to please him.
None of these are sources of material existence. They're all meant for the satisfaction of the Lord. So next couple of verses, and all these three verses is just glorifying the position of the Lord, right? How he is the source, how he is meant to be served by everything, how every sacrifice is for pleasing him, like that.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. According to the Vedanta Sutras, Shastra Yoni Tattvat, the Supreme Lord is the author of all revealed scriptures, and all the revealed scriptures are for knowing the Supreme Lord. Veda means knowledge that leads to the Lord. The Vedas are made just to revive the forgotten consciousness of the conditioned souls, and any literature not meant for reviving God consciousness is rejected at once by the Narayana Para devotees.
Yeah. So how is the Lord the source of scriptures? Because it is mentioned in one of the verses that Lord's breathing produces these Vedas. And within the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Vedashta sarvai
Ahameva
eva vedya, which means the whole purpose of studying Vedas is to know. Yeah. If that is the purpose and he is the source, then Vedas are meant to teach everybody about Supreme Lord. That is the only purpose of Vedas.
Any book of knowledge, science or art must lead to the knowledge of Narayana. Otherwise, it must be rejected. That is the way of advancement of knowledge. The supreme worshipable deity is Narayana. The demigods are recommended secondarily for worship in relation to Narayana, because the demigods are assisting hands in the management of the universal affairs.
Demigods have to be worshipped in relation to Narayana. That is the only way one can appease them. One cannot worship them as independent lords or the Supreme Lord. That is something derogatory to the demigod and the Supreme Lord as well. So even Bhagavad Gita says, right? Avidhi Purvakam. Right? You remember? When anybody worships the demigods independently, it is incorrect method. Avidhi Purvakam, Lord says. Such worship is Avidhi Purvakam, is not approved. Because no demigod is independent in his power to or benefact the devotee who is worshipping him. They all derive their powers from the Supreme Lord. So one has to worship the Supreme Lord along with the demigods if they were to worship. They are assisting hands in the management of universal affairs. Yeah, continue.
Without the Lord's relation, worship of the demigod, without the Lord's relation, worship of the demigods is unauthorized. Avidhi Purvakam. Just as it is improper to water the leaves and branches of a tree without watering its root. Therefore, the demigods are also dependent on Narayana.
So Lord is like the root. All the demigods are like branches and leaves. There is no point in watering leaves and branches. Instead, one should water the root.
One can increase the duration of life to thousands and hundreds of thousands of years in different planets. But nowhere is there eternal life. But one who can reach the highest planet, that of Brahma, can aspire to reach the planets in the spiritual sky, where life is eternal. Therefore, the progressive journey from one planet to another culminates in reaching the supreme planet of the Lord, Madhama, where life is eternal and full of bliss and knowledge.
Yeah. So there is no point in trying to go to any other planet, including that of Brahma. So one should only aim after the supreme planet. So that's the glorification of Lord Narayana's position with respect to demigods, with respect to Vedas, and with respect to sacrifices. There is no purpose of any puja other than direct worship of the Supreme Lord. Narayana Parayogo.
Narayana Paro Yogo.
Narayana Param Tapa.
Narayana Param Tapa.
Narayana Param Jnanam.
Narayana Param Jnanam.
Narayana Paragati.
Narayana Paragati.
Paragati.
Yeah, please read.
All different types of meditation or mysticism are means for realizing Narayana. All austerities are aimed at achieving Narayana. Culture of transcendental knowledge is for getting a glimpse of Narayana, and ultimately salvation is entering the kingdom of Narayana.
So very clear. Even Lord Brahma, the supreme creator of this material universe, is saying this. What is he saying? All meditation meant for realizing Narayana. There is no other purpose. There is no Brahman, there is no other thing. Just Narayana. Narayana Paro Yoga. All austerities, tapa. All tapa is only meant for him. Any knowledge that you try to acquire in this existence meant or should lead you to the Narayana direction of the Narayana. Otherwise, that loses the purpose. And he is the ultimate destination or gati. no other thing to achieve in this world but the Supreme Lord's kingdom. That is the only destination one should aspire. So these are the words of Lord Brahma. Yeah, please read Mataji.
Prabhuji, purport. Okay, please. In meditation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada teacher. In meditation, there are two systems of yoga, namely Ashtanga Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is practice in concentrating the mind, releasing oneself from all engagements by the regulative process of meditation, concentration, sitting postures, blocking the movements of the internal circulation of air, etc. Sankhya Yoga is meant to distinguish the truth from ephemerals. But ultimately, both systems are meant for realizing the impersonal Brahman, which is but a partial representation of Narayana, the personality of Godhead. As
So Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, both are meant to realize impersonal Brahman. Because these people who are engaged in this, they do not have the faith in personality of Godhead. So they have to engage in the mechanical processes of Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga, where they differentiate between what is matter, what is real, what is substance. Yeah. Go ahead. Please go.
person of the Supreme. Prabhuji?
Yeah, please read. Impersonal Brahman.
Yeah. Impersonal Brahman is situated on the person of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, Brahman is the glorification of the personality of Godhead.
Impersonal Brahman is situated on the person of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is translation of one of the lines of Bhagavad Gita. What is that? Anybody remembers? I'll hint. Brahmanohi. Brahmanohi pratishtaham. I am the source of impersonal Brahman, Krishna says. So this is direct translation of those words, right? So impersonal Brahmajyoti comes from the body of the Supreme Lord. So that is the words of Lord Krishna. And what does it indicate? It is the source of all, everything that material existence comes from Brahman. Brahman is the source of material existence, but that Brahman itself comes from the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So the people who practice Sankhya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, what they consider as the highest ultimate is but a manifestation of energy from the Supreme Lord in the form of Brahmajyoti, impersonal Brahman. Yeah.
Therefore, the conclusion is that Narayana, or the personality of Godhead, is the ultimate destination for all kinds of yoga systems as well as all kinds of liberation.
So actual goal, their goal is also Narayana, but they are stuck at a lower level. Right? But sometimes even Ashtanga Yogi, when they see Paramatma in the heart, they become devotees at the time and they take to the path of devotion. Kapila Muni is one example. And Brahman also, sometimes people, by the mercy of devotees, they were attracted to Brahmajyoti in the beginning, but they changed to become a devotee, right? Like 4 Kumaras and Sukadeva Goswami, like that. But ultimate conclusion is Narayana is the supreme destination. Tasyapi drashtur ishasya
Tasyapi drashtur ishasya
Utastasya kila atmana
tasya kilatmana
Jyam srijami srishtoham
Jam srijastoham
Ikshaiva bhichodita.
Vaishaiva
Yeah, please read. Anyone?
inspired by him
Inspired by him only, I discover what is already created by him, Narayana, under his vision as the all-pervading super soul, and I also am created by him only.
So humble, Brahmaji. He just want to give all credit back to Supreme Lord. Inspired by him. It is by his inspiration. I discover what is. So he says, Lord Narayana only creates everything. Not only that. Tasyapi, which is certainly drashtu. And second thing is, not only he creates first and I recreate the same, it is also under his supervision. Drashtur means under his direct vision. So it is like my work is only like a child's play. No, Lord gives all the material and I make the part. While making also, Lord supervises me to make sure everything goes smoothly. So that is what he's saying. So Lord is there at the beginning, and through the process of creation also he is superseeing or superseer, or is making sure everything goes smoothly. It is happening under direct supervision of him. Yeah. So I'm just discovering what he has created and recreating it under his supervision. Yeah. And by the way, I am also created by him, he says. Yeah.
Even Brahma, the creator of the universe, admits that he is not the actual creator, but is simply inspired by the Lord Narayana, and therefore creates under his superintendence those things already created by him, the super soul of all living entities, two identities of soul and super soul, and the individual soul are admitted to be in the living entity, even by the greatest authority of the universe.
Yeah. So Lord always accompanies the jiva as the super soul within the heart. Right?
The Lord inspires the individual soul to create what is already created by the Lord, and by the goodwill of the Lord is discoverer of something in the world, is accredited as the discoverer. It is said that Columbus discovered the Western hemisphere, but actually the tract of the land was not created by Columbus. The vast tract of land was already there by the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord, and Columbus, by dint of his past service unto the Lord, was blessed with the credit of discovering America.
It is only by Lord's mercy he was able to do this service and get the credit of discovering. America is already there. Just like that, Brahma is saying this whole material existence is already there. I just put them together.
One must therefore be voluntarily willing to render service unto the Lord, and thus the Lord will empower the doer in proportion to his surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Brahma is greater devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he has been empowered or inspired by the Lord to create such a universe as the one manifested before us.
So when one becomes a surrender devotee, Lord empowers them manifold, and the activities done by such personalities will be astonishing. For example, Lord Brahma created this entire universe. It's astonishing, but that is the result of his surrender to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna surrendered, and against all odds, they won the war. And due to the surrender of Srila Prabhupada, we can see his activities are all wonderful. We haven't seen anyone do such widespread Krishna consciousness before him or after him. Right? We have seen so many people, but Nobody is like Srila Prabhupada. We all wonder how is it even possible that all of a sudden such change has been brought up and 108 temples were constructed in a span of 11 years. I mean, we spent decades afterwards, but there is not such a thing that happened in the time after him or before him. So that is because Lord empowers the devotees based on their surrender. When we become the instrument like that, Lord makes us uses us as the utility in achieving great things like that, which is otherwise not possible, right? So that will happen only to the level of surrender one does. Yeah. This is just
The
go ahead.
battle of Kurukshetra or any other battle at any place or at any time is made by the will of the Lord. For no one can arrange such mass annihilation without the sanction of the Lord.
Yeah. So everything happens by the will of the Lord.
Devotees like Brahma and Arjuna do not do anything on their own account, but as fully surrendered souls, they always await indications from the Lord. Therefore, they attempt to do something which appears very wonderful to ordinary vision. One of the Lord's names is Urukrama, or one whose actions are very wonderful and are beyond the imagination of the living being. So the actions of his devotees sometimes appear very wonderful due to the direction of the Lord, beginning from Brahma, the topmost intelligent living entity within the universe, down to the smallest ant. Every living entity's intelligence is overseen by the Lord in his transcendental position as the witness of all actions.
So this is exactly Urukrama. Lord is Urukrama, and his action, because his actions are wonderful, depending on the level of surrender of the devotees, their acts also will be wonderful like that, because they act as the instruments in the hand of the Lord. The Lord engages them in such activities, which are very wonderful. Sattvam rajastama iti
Sastvam
Rajastama-iti
gunasya gunastraya
Nirgunasya
Gunasya
iti sarga nirodheshu
Sthiti Sarga
Nirodeshu
Gita Mayaya Vibho.
Grihita
Maya Vibho.
Yeah, please read.
The Supreme Lord is. Go ahead, Mataji.
Sure, thank you, Mataji. Translation: The Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance.
So the Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities. So Lord does not directly engage in material creation. So under Supreme Lord, there is Maya potency, and under Maya potency, there is the Trigunas. So he's basically Brahma explaining what is the hierarchy of operation. It is not that I'm directly working under, he is himself saying, first of all, you think I am the creator. I'm not, first of all, creator. I fall under fourth level hierarchy under the Supreme Lord's position, right? So he's saying the Supreme Lord is pure and he will not touch any of these material qualities. And under him, Maya potency exists. And from Maya potency, three modes of material nature come into play, and I act under her. Yeah, the three modes of material nature. Please continue,
The
Mataji.
living entities are subjected by those qualities, although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord. In other words, the material modes of nature, being products of the energy of the Lord, are certainly connected with the Lord, but the connection is just like that between the master and the servants. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers.
Even though Jiva is of the same quality as the Supreme Lord, but still, when he is in the material existence, he is still under the influence of the modes. Even though material modes ontologically lower than the soul, constituent of soul, because soul is spiritual and the material energy is material, lower, inferior energy. But still, the material energy is the direct energy of the Supreme Lord, and it overpowers the Jiva in the material existence. Yeah, only the Supreme Lord is the controller of material energy. Daivihi Esha Gunamayi. The gunas are daivic in nature, they are divine in nature, and one cannot overcome their energy unless one surrenders to the Supreme Lord. That is the verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Daivihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Only if one surrenders can he overcome the influence of the modes, right? So the Supreme Lord is the controller of material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers. And what is he indicating? I am one such Jiva only. That's what next verse says. Yeah. So he's just explained the hierarchy of Lord's ontological existence, Supreme Lord, Maya potency, and the modes of material nature. Now he will say the Jivas are under Maya potency, or say under the control of three modes, and I am one of them. Karya Karana Kartatve
Karya
Dravya Jnana Kriyashraya
Dravya Kriyashraya
Nanti Nichada Muktam
Vadanti Nityam
Mayinam Purusham Guna.
Mayinam Purusham Guna.
Yeah. Please read.
These translation.
Go ahead, Shiva Prabhu.
Translation. These three modes of material nature being further manifested as matter, knowledge, and activities put the eternally transcendental living entity under conditions of cause and effect and make him responsible for such activities.
Yeah, so these modes of material nature, basically they subject the Jiva based on their actions, become responsible for the received karma, right? Whatever actions they perform under the control of the modes, that determines their future. That's what this means. So basically is just staying the hierarchical position of Jiva as such. And he will next explain that, I am also one of the Jiva like that. Yeah. So I'm under the control of modes, he's saying indirectly.
Perfect. This external energy of the Lord covers up the pure knowledge of the living entities eternally existing with him, but the covering is so constant that it appears that the conditioned soul is eternally ignorant. Such is the wonderful action of Maya or external energy manifested as if materially produced. By the covering power of the material energy, the material scientist cannot look beyond the material causes, but factually, behind the material manifestations, there are Adibhuta, Adhyatma, and Adidhaiva actions which the conditioned soul in the mode of ignorance cannot see.
Yeah, so Lord covers, as soon as the Jiva is in the material existence, is pure knowledge. Jiva is Sat Chit Ananda. his knowledge is, even though he is an eternal living entity, his knowledge is covered completely, because that is his desire. He wanted to basically enjoy his free will in this material existence. So that will happen only if his knowledge is covered. So he will be covered, his pure knowledge will be covered. And within the material existence, it's very difficult with covered knowledge to actually acknowledge the existence of Supreme Lord. So material scientists cannot look beyond material causes. Yeah. So because he is covered by the three potencies, right? The Adibhuta, Adhyatma, and Adidaiva. Adibhuta is the Adhyatma is the mind. No, Adhyatma is the mind. Yeah. Adidaiva is the external energies. Adibhuta is other living entities. So these things will cover the pure conditioned soul. So covered in mode of ignorance, he cannot see the truth of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Sa esha Bhagavan lingais tribhir etair adhokshaja swalakshita gatir brahman
Brahman
sarvesham mamacheshvara.
Sarvesham Mama Cheshwaraha.
Yeah.
O Brahmana, O Brahmana Narada, the superseer, the transcendental Lord, is beyond the perception of the material senses of the living entities because of the above mentioned three modes of nature. But he is the controller of everyone, including me.
He's saying Mama Cheshwara, even he is the controller of me. And why Jivas cannot see? Because the three modes cover Tribir Ether Adokshaja. Adokshaja is the Supreme Lord who is beyond the reach of the senses, Adokshaja. And between the Jiva and the Supreme Lord is the layer of three modes, which covers them, right? And only by the mercy of the Lord, he will reveal himself when the devotee is surrendered to him. So it is Lord's choice whom to reveal. So he is finally concluding to this verse. This is the final conclusion. So you are thinking I am the creator, but actually there is a hierarchy of existence. The Supreme Lord is untouched by the material existence, and under whom the Maya potency operates. And under Maya potency, the three modes of material nature are manifested, which control the activities of the Jivas. And I am one such Jiva. And being in the material existence, everyone is covered by the three modes. And nobody can perceive the Adhoksha, the Supreme Lord. So that is the overall summary of these few verses. So he clarified to Narada that I am not, the Supreme Creator as you were mentioning. It is the Supreme Lord who actually creates. I am only manifesting secondarily under his direct supervision. He mentioned that as well. Neither Vedas nor sacrifices nor anything else is the reason for the existence of material existence. Everything is because it was originally created by the Supreme Lord. So he is the supreme source, supreme shelter, and supreme those two at least. That's what we covered as answers in this verses so far. Yeah, please read.
The Lord is not approachable by everyone because he is contained by his Yoga Maya potency. But one should not wrongly conclude that the Lord was formerly unmanifested and has now manifested himself in the human form. This misconception of the formlessness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is due to the Yoga Maya curtain of the Lord and can be removed only by the Supreme Will as soon as the conditioned soul surrenders unto him. The devotee of the Lord, who are transcendental to the above mentioned three modes of material nature, can see the all blissful transcendental form of the Lord with their vision of love in the attitude of pure devotional service.
Yeah, with the salve of love can we see the form of the Lord. When we develop love for the Lord, all these curtains of covering will be removed, and one devotee with the surrendered soul can directly witness the Supreme Lord. So that covers this section on the first two questions of the Supreme Narada. So we'll cover the next section next week. So I wanted to cover one aspect which I mentioned last week. So I was just asking, all of you how your chanting is, going on. Even I'm working on my own chanting. So I was talking to His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhu last week. So he mentioned a few tips that basically helped me to fix my own rounds. So I shared the video link. Has anyone had a chance to try chanting with Srila Prabhupada?
Yes, Prabhuji, but Prabhuji is very fast. Prabhuji, I could not even finish 10 with him.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Honestly, Prabhu, I
Yeah, yes,
not got a
Prabhuji.
chance to try, but I will this week.
Okay.
Yeah, even I felt it is fast, Prabhuji. Like, yeah, couldn't cope up with that speed. Yeah.
You can slow down actually. There is a way to slow down 0.75 like that, Mataji.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll try. I didn't know that, Prabhuji. Okay,
That will
sure.
help you slow down. So with that speed, Srila Prabhupada
Prabhuji,
just
I
16 rounds.
tried.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Shiva Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, I tried, Prabhuji, but mine was little faster actually. I completed one mantra, and the next mantra, Hare Krishna also I was able to complete. Krishna, Hare Krishna. When I recite Krishna, then that's where the first mantra of, I was able to reach one mantra, and then the next mantra also, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Okay, you can increase the speed a little bit if you think you're a little faster. You can increase to 1.25x the speed. Yeah. Yes, Deviradhika Mataji.
Prabhuji, there's another app called Kathamrita where there are two speeds of Prabhupada's japa, like one fast and one regular speed. So we can try that also. I mean, we don't have to go to YouTube and all like that's
Distraction will be avoided, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Prabhuji, I have a question again. So, the speed, I mean, like I was not able to cope up with that speed. So, I was thinking, am I doing wrong way of chanting because I couldn't do that speed, or because I'm chanting slowly? Is that okay, Prabhuji, or anything
Yes, Mataji.
wrong with?
How much time do you take in chanting one round? When
Usually like 2 hours, I'll finish my chanting, sometimes little more than 2 hours. Usually 5 minutes to 6 minutes it will take, Prabhuji, sometimes, yeah. 6 minutes, yeah, 6 minutes for one round.
Ideal time is 7 minutes. If you 7 to ideal means, there is no ideal, but
Okay.
generally with Prabhupada's speed, it takes about 7 minutes. Maybe if you are saying 2 hours, it is already taking 7 minutes per round.
Yes, it will take probably 2 hours. Each round I never calculated, but basically like whole for 16 rounds to finish, it will take 2 hours, sometimes more than 2 hours also, like 2 or 10 minutes,
2 hours,
like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the speed of Prabhupada, it should take around 2 hours, which is reasonably fast. It's not slow at all.
Okay,
And
okay.
if one chants little faster, okay, maybe 15 minutes down. Maybe Sridhar Gopal Prabhu may take around 1 hour 45 minutes.
Okay.
But if one is chanting slower than that, there is a potential that we might be skipping beats, especially when our mind wavers around.
Okay.
There is a good possibility of skipping beats in the counting beats, right? When we chant, we move the beats. There is a good chance when our mind wanders, we skip the beats.
Okay.
Prabhu said, sometimes I chant in 6 minutes or even 5 minutes, and I skip the round and I redo the round, because he has observed his own chanting, and it seems it's quite a common pattern. So he recommended a couple of things. One is, if you believe there is, you're finishing round in 6 minutes, right? Or sometimes less than that. It is better you take the beads out of the bead bag. When you hold it in your hand, you generally don't miss. When it is hidden in the bead bag, there is a good chance we just speed up our hand. Okay. Take out the bead. Second thing he suggested is, if you watch the beads, 100% you will not miss. I have tried that. I haven't missed. I tried multiple days, multiple rounds. At least my experience, I don't have to worry at all. If I just watch the bead and I chant in my hand by taking the beads out, 100%, no missing any round. Yeah, Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So my problem is the same as Prabhuji mentioned. It's going fast. So my question is it like, it's okay. What is the main purpose other than listening? So like, okay, so we hold the bead, you say the mantra, and then you advance. So that is the main thing. Like, I mean, the basic thing. And then you are supposed to listen to yourself. So what is beyond that? Like, for example, like in the beginning, it's so hard to hold the bead and then like say the mantra and then move to the next one. But as you practice, sometimes like, the second step or the third step, the fourth level, right? So the reason why I'm asking that is the speed is because so that all these thoughts won't come, and like, if you just have a gap, like, if you do it slowly, it's just mind wanders a lot. So if you just do it fast, at least like for me, maybe it's depending on those modes of material nature like that I'm situated in, I have to do it fast. Some people, they have to do it slow. So what is the, I mean, not like goal, what are the rules, what is the goal? And I think when I'm doing fast, I might be mixing some of the syllables, which I'm going to work on. So that is the next problem, right? Like skipping the beats is one problem, but skipping the syllables where, there are other ways like recording it and listening to it and then slowing down. But anyway, so that is what the next phase probably have to work on. But, I think.
Yeah, the purpose is to be able to focus and hear continuously without distraction. If the speed is the hindrance, we have to speed up so that we don't leave the mind to wander. We don't give the chance for mind to wander. So we have to, he said, the speed should be adjusted based on where you find balance with your mind wanderings. He specifically said that. So the speed is individual, meaning we have to determine our pace. And the speed should be such that it should not, like you said, we should not, eat the syllables, right? So the goal is to completely hear the holy name, the sound of your holy name, right? And be able to be absorbed. If that speed, if the speed is, or the speed is slower, or the chanting rate is slow, there is a good potential for mind to wander, right? So we have to chant at the right speed so that mind is still focused. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And he recommended to hear about the glories of holy name and the being grateful to Srila Prabhupada and Guru before chanting, and praying to them to empower you to chant for their pleasure definitely helps. Yeah. So if you have an opportunity, you can hear something about chanting, or at least pray to the Lord that these 2 hours are for you. And he said, you can also, while Prabhupada's chanting is going, you can accept that Prabhupada is sitting by my side and chanting, and I have to now focus and chant such that, Prabhupada is not displeased because he's just by my side. Yeah. So, and he recommended to chant as many rounds as possible in the morning, because mind is fresh, and, with a prayerful mood, if you begin, it's much, much smoother and much more higher quality chanting. Yeah. So if you can do as many rounds as possible before 6, before you engage in any household duties, that is the best part of your chanting. If you have some rounds, that is okay, but at least he recommends half rounds to be done earlier than 6.
So one more thing on that, if no one has questions. Basically in the, I think verse 19, we mentioned like, Lord is going to use us as a tool, like, when you are actually, so is that the feeling that you chant too? I mean, sometimes even with the fasts and even with like, bringing the mind back. So it's like constantly you're bringing the mind back because it wanders, you bring it back. But then also if you have some space in between, is it like, please use me in your service kind of mood? That's the secondary, third, or whatever, like,
The mood is very important. Like, I think you are hitting the nail, because that's very critical for, especially because chanting is a conscious effort. Our mood really matters the most. And constantly reminding ourselves, if it is not a fight, just like when you exercise, you're against the force. Unless our mind is engaged forcefully against its nature of wandering around and going everywhere, we are not really engaged in the process of chanting. So constantly reminding every few rounds, that makes our, he mentioned like, if you do good chanting, you will see a change in life very fast. And if we do innate into chanting, the offense that we are doing knowingly or unknowingly is mainly innate into chanting. Innate into chanting will suck the taste out of Krishna consciousness. And slowly we do it just like another mechanical activity. So we need to juice up our Krishna consciousness, then we need to put a lot of energy into chanting. So if it means hearing something or, being grateful, just like that South Indian Brahmin who was reading Bhagavad Gita, he wouldn't understand a word, but every time he reads, he would have that feeling, that spirit, the spirit of devotion he has. Lord Chaitanya immediately said, you have the right spirit. You have understood the essence of Gita because you have the right spirit. So that spirit is what we should have, right? Lord has so mercifully has given us everything. He has given us a spiritual master, a guide, Srila Prabhupada. He has given books. He has given everything for us. So, and he has given the holy name, which is the only way to get out of, in this specific case. So we should feel that gratitude for all the opportunities that were given. Even we are given the opportunity to serve Lord as well in many ways in the temple and elsewhere. So that grateful heart, prepares our consciousness to chant with that, the right mood. Yeah. So that's very important. Preparing our consciousness. It's not just a mechanical activity to focus mind on hearing the holy name. It is about pleasing the Lord for all that He has given already to us. Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Anything else? So, at least one thing that's helping me is open the beads, watch the chant, bead and chant. You can chant at the speed that you are comfortable. Immediately, you will see a gulf of difference. And you will see, your consciousness also will be very different when you chant properly, following the instructions of your guides. It really helps. Yeah. Yeah.
I got Prabhu
Yes,
question.
Sujata Radhikamas.
So actually I tried with Prabhupada's chanting few days. I think it become very stressful. It's like, okay, already you're thinking about, okay, whether the mind is going here or there. Okay, there is one thought there, and then, okay, am I chanting with Prabhupada? Okay, I'm not chanting. Okay, I'm finishing early. Oh my God, I missed this one. It's like it shouldn't be a stressful activity when we are kind of measuring ourselves with so many factors. Okay, I'm missing beats. Okay, I'm not this. Okay, I'm doing this. That is one aspect. Other thing is if you're keeping the beads outside, now you can also close your eyes and hear and chant. Now you have to open your eyes and see, count look at the beats for 16 rounds, right? Like, I mean, is it like only like first few rounds we can do, rest is like, if you have to do that focused one for 16 rounds, then at the end of the day, like at the end of it, you shouldn't feel tired. Okay, what happened now?
Yeah. So yeah, he said, once you fix this thing for 30 days, it will become part of you. Yeah. And then you won't miss the beats. So right now we have a problem of missing beats. At least for me, that is a problem.
So, but then after 30 days, can you put the beads inside the chanting bag and it should come naturally?
It should naturally, because your speed is adjusted. The hand movement is adjusted. If you consistently do for a few days, it should fix the problem. Right now we are, trying to address. So it's going to be stressful for some time. It may take longer. I'm spending 30 minutes now because I'm now at least trying to fix my problem. But eventually it becomes your second nature. It's going to be stressful until, that problem is addressed. Anytime you have a problem, like, you have a disease, right? You have to better address it rather than, continuing to adjust with that, right? So it's something like that. We are trying to fix our problems. Good that we at least acknowledge our condition and, trying to see what we can do to improve ourselves. So,
and I think I also heard
giving it a try. Yeah, let's see how it works out.
Okay. And I think I heard someone, Prabhu, Braja Vihari Prabhu, I think, he mentioned like at least first few mantras in a round, we focus trying our best to hear, at least like, okay, 10 or 20. But after that, it is like you are constantly fighting with the mind. Okay, it becomes too much. At least, okay, you try the first 10, 20. After that, you can try to bring it back, but then sometimes it's not beyond your control.
Yeah. Yeah, we are all at different states. If for us, chanting one round with focus is difficult, then first get that one round fixed and continuously do at least one good round every day. Then improve it from 1 to 2. So his point is to improve at a steady pace rather than trying to stress ourselves by, putting a very high standard at one go, which is, I think, practical, right? So we can also, so our goal is to do pure chanting, right? That is the state we want to get to. We want to fully experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness ultimately. We are not wanting to just, be engaged in devotion service in one way or the other. We want to get the highest, we want to get to the highest state. So, and this is the most important activity of our day. So we want to just, keep at it, but not too much stress, but try to improve day by day, whatever we can.
Another question, Prabhu. So when you are taking the beads out, looking at the beads, you are also keeping Prabhupada chanting?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you don't need. By one round you do, you feel so confident once you open up. It's completely.
Okay, so at least you didn't miss 108 with Prabhupada. Okay, you feel confident. Then okay, maybe remove one thing.
It's working. Now I don't hear Prabhupada directly. I hear once, maybe one or two rounds max, but I don't hear continuously. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they also say you shouldn't put the beads out. There is some reason for that also. You can't put the beads out of the bead bag.
No, it's not like that. I mean, we cannot drop the beads anywhere on the floor or things like that. We can chant, you can sit in a chair and beads maybe a little bit hanging. You can hold in two hands and chant.
So you can check with someone. I heard from someone that, but I mean, there is some reason for that. I forgot.
Yeah, Mataji, I heard one reason. I don't know it's official or anything. Long time when I went for Japa retreat, they said if you take the beads out, some of the potency goes away. don't quote me on that, but something that's the reason I heard. So I always keep it in there as much as I can. But anyway, so
Yeah, I think
I don't
once
know.
I think in the middle, when you chant, right, like you in the middle of the round, something comes up, you put the beads little bit outside, go do some work, and then continue. Someone told me like, okay, why did you keep the beads half out like that? Put it inside. I didn't.
Yeah, I think something said like all the booth, I mean all the living entities that are like visible and invisible will take the energy from it. I don't know if it's like, you know, I don't remember. I heard it a long time ago.
Question to Radha
Yeah.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, so
I
it's
had the
probably
same.
better. Yeah.
I had the same answer, Mataji. If the beads are outside, so
Yeah.
other living entities, if they see that the punya will go away. That's what I had.
I too heard that.
Yeah, it seems little dogmatic, so that's why we should get the official confirmation from.
Please, you know, we can fix the problem and put the beats back.
Exactly, Prabhu. That's the other thing. So basically, what it is as part of training, you are doing it. It's okay, right? Like you're doing it to improve your chanting in a way. So it's
Exactly. So once we fix the problem, we'll go back to our original style of chanting. Yeah.
And that could be your.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that could be your extra round. So, okay, you give it to all the jivas, like, you know, that extra or whatever. It's okay. You do one more extra, you take it out. I mean, it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm already complicating, but you know, it's you can.
1 month, all the benefits goes to all living.
I don't think it's like that. It goes from the beads. That's what they said. Like not like when you're doing, but anyway, but it's okay to, yeah. It's okay to give to others. It's okay. Sorry, Prabhu.
No problem. Prabhuji, one question, Prabhu, in the same context. Actually, recently I had a discussion with one of our devotee friends. So the point came up was, okay, can I give my the chanting the beads which I got from at the time of initiation to somebody to chant? So some says that we should not give, and some says that we should give. And is there any Shastric reference to that, whether to give or not to give?
To give your chanting beads to others?
Others, initiated beads which I got at the time of initiation. Some people say that we can still give for others to chant in case if they don't have beads, and if you're done with that chanting.
I heard we should not give, Prabhu. I also don't have a reference, but you can always give, you know, other beads like neem beads or other beads at home.
Correct. We can give, but Japa, the beads which we got from Guru. My point was, I said no, but they were asking, okay, do you have any reference for that? Which I don't have, so I thought, okay.
I will check about that. I also don't have anything about reference. You know, it's recommended to not, you know, give your, you know, that is your Guru's mercy upon you. So that is you, that is the mercy upon you. So you should use that only for yourself. It's like, you know, Gayatri mantra is given to the Brahmanas, right? We are never supposed to speak that to anybody. So similarly, the beads are not just beads, it's also mantra that is given to us through the beads. So both are together. I mean, that is my understanding, could be speculation, but I never heard anybody giving their chanting, the initiation beads to others for chanting. Yeah. Okay, so
also, Prabhu, thank you so much for bringing this topic up. I always thought only I have a problem. I'm now happy that you all also have a problem. So thank you, Prabhu.
It is a common problem. Many people, as we just, you know, don't pay that much attention. It's a common problem I heard with many people. As I'm speaking to people, right, to know about this, yeah, it's prevalent problem that people finish rounds in 5 minutes many times, 5 to 6 minutes. It means that there is this problem. 7.5, 7, 8, this is the proper time. If in doubt, Prabhu suggested chant at least for 2 hours. Whether you finish before or not, chant those extra 15 minutes if you still have. So that is the time you want to give to Krishna, right? In that way, if you chant extra round, extra beats, you will do that, necessary gaps that you have filled. If you are giving 2 hours, most likely you will finish your quota and win more.
Prabhu, another idea is monthly once, one Ekadashi, if it falls on a Sunday or whatever weekend, we can do 64 to catch up. But like in case if there is any thing which we missed.
We can definitely do that. It's a good idea. Maybe that is the reason, we are recommended to chant more rounds on Ekadashi every 2 weeks. Because
Yeah, I think Braja Vigari Prabhu, or I'm not sure. Yeah, he did this last time, 64 rounds. At the time, like if people were okay, let's do it monthly once Ekadashi. But then the Ekadashi has to come on a Sunday, or we have to choose one Sunday. Like I think we have to start from Mangalarti till whatever noon and finish that 64.
It's like
I think people have to come together and do it once a month. We can do that to kind of feel okay. I didn't miss.
Definitely, yeah, I think that will help. It's like Purushottam Adhikamas, right? Once in a while to give extra time. Okay, yeah, I think thank you all very much for joining today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you.
Bhagavan.